recording. There we go. Hello and good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. I am so excited to be welcoming everyone back. We have been just trailblazing this month through this May Money Talks Mastermind. I have had the great pleasure of interviewing some phenomenal women and bringing their expertise and insights to you on all things money. So I'm Vihil, Vigil, women's empowerment business coach and founder and creator of the Empowerment Empire, and your gracious host for this monthly program. Now, normally our masterminds are once or twice a month. They're paid programs, and this one we do every year for the last 3 years so that you could donate to our fundraiser for our education foundation, and so we can share as much information and insights into money, wealth management, wealth building, and all things, business growth, because we are entrepreneurs, we are business owners, and I love to collaborate. And so it's been a great, great honor to be featuring some of these really awesome ladies. So I am going to introduce our speaker for today. And I'm super excited also, and I have to take pause to recognize that it is Memorial Day weekend. And so for many, it means, beers and barbecue. But for those of you who understand and know better, it really is calling attention and in memorial to those in service who gave their lives during their service to our country. And as Rita Thomas, our upcoming speaker, is also a veteran, I am also a veteran, and we have a lot of veterans in our community, women veterans, male veterans. And I just want to really take a moment of pause for that. So happy Veterans Day to everybody, and I hope you have a safe weekend. So with that, Rita is an entrepreneur, photographer, automation specialist, speaker, and Air Force veteran who is committed to showing entrepreneurs how to make the most of all of their assets. Her skill and passion for showing others how to automate their business for more success and peace of mind was born of her own need to streamline her business. Like many entrepreneurs, Rita started her first business as a professional photographer, whoop, whoop, go professional photographers, while still working a full-time job. She discovered how to use automation to increase her part-time revenue to the point where it has replaced her full-time income. Rita now shares the same systems that saved her sanity, and I can absolutely attest to that, and allowed her dream to come true with other entrepreneurs through training and automation systems. She is a workflow automation certified partner, a marketing and branding photographer, a U.S. Air Force veteran. Thank you for your service. Rita Thomas is going to speak to us today on Get Off the Revenue Roller Coaster, using automation to create steady monthly income. Good morning and good afternoon where you are. Welcome to the program, Rita. How are you today?
I am very well. Thank you so much for having me. And what a great intro. And you got me all teary with the Memorial Day, but it's just, it just means the whole world to me that I live in this great country. And one of the things that I'm reminded of every Memorial Day is they say that the flag waves on the breath of the people who died to protect it. And every time I see a flag furling in the wind, I think of that, and it just is a daily reminder, and because I almost daily see flags, and we just live in such a great country, and I was honored to serve, and I'm just thankful that I did certainly come home whole and get to continue living my life and meet other great veterans like you. And I think veterans are an extremely special group of people. So I'm really glad you did that honor for Memorial Day week.
Yeah, I will remember that now. Every time I see a flag wave, I will definitely remember that. There's a radio station that we typically listen to on our way to drop my daughter off at school. And for her, class begins at 8:15. So at 8 a.m. every single morning, they do a salute to the veterans. And they have some famous music star singing, the national anthem. And my daughter is so cute. She's always like, we'll be driving down the freeway and her hand goes right over her heart. And we're driving down the freeway. She's like, Mom, salute, salute. I'm like, okay, well, I am driving. So, so if you're passing me on the freeway in San Diego, you might be seeing this at, a certain period of time. So yes, absolutely. I think it's really important that we call attention to the fact that we are remembering our veterans and our fallen soldiers. And thank you all for your service so very much. Rita, let's get to talking about all things automation and how that can save our sanity with our businesses as we grow them.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you where I came from. So I have always loved photography since I was probably in middle school. My dad was the family photographer, and so he was always taking pictures of our family, pose pictures mostly. And one of the funniest things I ever saw my dad, he would always, especially during the period of time where we had that big Polaroid in it, it spit out this picture that was on this thing and you had to let it sit and then you peeled it off. So he would get that thing on the tripod and he would put all of us children just exactly the right way, but he would have one of us hold our finger up so he could focus on that finger. And then he knew the whole thing was in focus. And then he would say, okay, put your finger down, and they would take the picture. Well, one time he forgot to tell my brother to put his finger down. And it's so little because we still have that picture, because you don't just take more pictures, you get one picture.
Yeah.
Back then it was way too expensive. It wasn't digital. And so I run across that picture now and then and it just cracks me up. But I was always at Dad's knee, always learning about photography. And back then there was nothing automatic. You had to learn the triad, the aperture, shutter speed. And we used to buy film that was ASO. Anyway, ISO.
Mm-hmm. The difference.
It's the same settings on the digital cameras now, but boy, we can just so many pictures now and just throw away the ones we don't want. So
it was the reason why I shifted. So for those of you who don't know, I was a portrait photographer and a wedding photographer for about 15 years before I had my daughter, but I got my start because I was in junior high and I wanted to do a club, and I joined the newspaper because I could be a photographer for the newspaper. And I would spend hours in the dark room, just loved it. Like I would just lose track of time, but I was so hard up. I did not want to convert to digital because I just love my film, but doing weddings, doing, family portrait sessions, it got pretty expensive. So finally that's when I converted to, to digital. And then after I had my daughter, I decided I needed to retire from all the hours of editing that.
Yeah. And I feel like wedding photographers and reporters were probably two of the first groups that did convert to digital. Would you say that?
I would say definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And it used to be when digital cameras first came out, they cost about $1,000 per megapixel. So if you had a 10 megapixel camera, you're going to pay $10,000 for it. And of course, oh my goodness, now we're up to like 48 megapixels and they're a couple $1,000s, but still it's amazing how that hit a point, and then the quality of the camera was going up and the price was not going up nearly that much. So
thankfully.
So yeah, so I all my life, even as a teen, I was the photographer, and when I joined the Air Force and got to travel around, I took pictures. I have some of the greatest pictures of my life that I took while I was stationed other places, and my friends, and we went on camping trips, and I'm like, there with the camera.
Oh, we are so kindred spirits. Yeah.
So it just became natural that I would go into business as a photographer. Mm-hmm. And I started because there were a lot of, Knoxville, Tennessee is where I live. And there are, we're the volunteer state. And man, I'll tell you, the people here really embody that. And so we have a lot of charities and foundations here in East Tennessee, and they get tremendous support from people
Awesome.
with funds and with volunteering as well. And so I really wanted to support. Some of them are just phenomenal in their outreach, but I didn't have $1,000 or $700 to donate, but I could do that much photography for them during their gala events. And then they could turn that into even more and bigger donations. And once I figured that out, I started doing pro bono event photography for charities. And that just led into an entire business of really event photography that lasted right up until March 12th of 2020, when all events ceased to exist.
Right.
And that was shocking, but thankfully I still had my day job at that time. So aside from the loss of income that I was used to having, I still had the bare bones income that would pay off the bills during the next couple of years. And so during that time though, during that pandemic, is when I really got to look at my business, because I could slow down a little bit. I wasn't doing events. And I talked to some advisors, and they said, look, you're not in a position to leave your day job. That's what I wanted. I wanted to leave my day job and just make a living doing pictures. And they said, you have skill and talent. You have the great personality for sales and connecting with people. You have a good reputation in town. You have loyal clients. You have everything you need, except you do not have a business running underneath it. And I didn't. I had my entire everything in my head. And I would use my calendar on my phone to keep track of appointments, but I had stacks of legal pads on my desk and sticky notes, like all around, and everything was in my head. And I'm not kidding you. I got to a point where I would go to sleep at night and I would try not to really fall all the way asleep, because I might forget something that I was trying to remember. And that is not a way to live, because you got to have your sleep. And so I knew that I had a very flawed system. It was a house of cards. And if I quit my job, I was going to crash and burn. So I set out to find the systems that I needed. And I said, all right, I was going to quit my job December 31st of 2019, because I did not want a W-2 from anybody in 2020. And so that's when I was told, no, you need these systems. So I was looking for the systems, and that's when the pandemic happened. So thank heaven I had not quit my job. But I did find that there are a host of different people that offer, there's probably 5 different calendar systems. There's 10 different email systems. There's every kind of invoicing system you can think of. There's the landing pages and the funnels and all that. And
so overwhelming so fast.
And then here's the thing. You got to pick which one is right for you, which is almost a shot in the dark. You got to pay for them and learn how to use all of them separately. And then you have to try to make them work together for you and your business. Meanwhile, you have a business that you're trying to run. And then I also had a day job. So I was literally in tears, like elbows on either side of my laptop, just head in my hand, just crying, thinking I would never be able to quit my job. So I had been on one of these 3-day seminar things that these coaches put on, and it was virtual because we were all at home. And Keep was a sponsor of that. And Keep is a company that has all of those things in one place. In fact, their name is KEAP, Keep Everything All in One Place. So all those things I just named off that I was looking for, they had it all. And there was a man there talking about how you can use this system to, and as soon as I grasped what he was saying, I was like, I want this, I need it right now. I knew this was exactly what was going to save me. And he kept talking, and I was like, I'm done. I'm ready. I want to buy this thing. And once he told me the price, and it was a phenomenal price, I was like, stop talking. Here's my credit card. Like, can I buy this?
No, I could so relate. Before I left my position, so I worked with the Foundation for California Community Colleges, and I worked for the University of California, and we had big systems. I was a project manager, and we had big systems that, and then Salesforce became like my best friend for about like 4 years. So when I left those organizations and I started my own business, my experience was massive system. And when I was looking for something to manage my not massive business, it was just so challenging because I knew what it was like to have to convert systems because I was doing it. So my fear was that I would find something that I liked to automate my processes so people could get email reminders and text reminders and invoices and appointment reminders and thank you emails, and then even a place to give them their product that they were purchasing. Because as a coach, I've got, online business or online courses, books, etc., that people can buy. And it was just, I got to the point where I thought, you know what, I can't commit because I'm afraid I'm going to have to upgrade or shift.
Right? Yeah, I'll have to change.
I just started using all these little things. And then after using all these little things for a while, I met another key partner, Patty Rogers, super awesome lady. I'm going to ping you on this when we're done live. She, and I'm still in the learning phase myself, but it makes sense to be able to have everything all in one place. It takes the headache out of it so much. And you're learning business workflow. And then you start to understand your customer experience, and you can design your customer experience the way that you want them to feel, to interact, to receive things from you. And I can't wait to get mine so fully automated. You and I are going to have lots of conversations as well, I'm sure.
I'm going to show you, I'm sure you've seen this since you've been involved with Patty. I want to show you a very nice graphic that does come from Keith, and it very clearly explains their version or their vision of life cycle marketing. Oops.
Yeah.
Oops, hold on. Oops. It's live, folks. Hold on. There we go. So in any business, you want to start on the left. You're going to collect leads. You're going to attract your ideal client and capture their information. And then you're going to convert them to a client. So you're going to engage with them over time because you want to be known before you're needed. That's one reason you want to have an email campaign and have Facebook ads and have that awareness out there, because when that ideal client needs you, you want to be top of mind. You want to be the one they think of when they need that thing, because they might not need it every day. Yeah. And then of course you're going to close the deal. And then after that, on the right-hand side, you want to create raving fans. And raving fans really can become the lifeblood of your company. If you have enough raving fans, you won't really even need to go find new leads very much, because they're going to tell their friends. Here's the difference between a happy customer and a raving fan. A happy customer, if anyone asked them, they would say, yes, I'm a happy customer. I like that person. A raving fan cannot stop talking about you. They're telling their neighbors and the school bus driver and the person checking them out at the grocery store and their dentist. Yeah. They are telling everybody how happy they are with whatever service that you provided. That's a raving fan. And that's what we really want, is people that are so happy they can't contain their enthusiasm.
Yeah, that hits home right to my world of, our world of photography, is that I think once I got started photographing weddings for friends, and then from there, I rarely advertised my business because I was just kept getting referrals, because you find a level of customer service that, that fits you and your personality and your business, and your customers and clients see that. So much with our systems, your customers don't get to see that and feel that, so they don't rave about you as much as they could. And I see something like this could help us do that.
And here's the other great thing about automating some of these things. You don't want to automate everything by any means. And you don't want your business to be cold and robotic. And that is not what automation means. But when you can automate some of those things, that the owner of the company does not need to be a slave to the keyboard and making things happen, right? So you
Yeah.
automate them. Here's what that does. It does two things. Instead of collecting a whole bunch of leads and not making any money, and then selling a whole bunch of products, so now you're making money, then you have to deliver on that product. So you're delivering the product, you're not making money, and you're not collecting leads. So then you keep going up and down on this revenue roller coaster. So you never know how much money you're going to make in a month. Here's the other thing that it does when you automate. You can do all of those things at the same time because you're not doing them all yourself. You're the face of the company. You're the salesperson pretty much. And the other things that need to be happening are happening. The other great thing is they happen 24/7 every single time without fail, pristine execution every time. So if you don't feel good or you're overwhelmed with an issue that suddenly popped up, you're still delivering that stellar customer service to all your other customers while you're focused on this other thing going on. Because you have it automated, it's going to happen. And that consistency is one of the best things to create raving fans as well. Nobody falls through the cracks.
I love it. So how do we get ourselves prepared for automation, and what can you help us understand the way that, and I loved your title. I was just posting your information on the Facebook live stream, but get off the revenue roller coaster using automation to create the steady monthly income. I love how you just explained, you're not just having to focus on one area because you have these systems in place where you're able to stay above the water while your business is
I would say most entrepreneurs are a huge percentage. I don't know the statistic, but they're solopreneur. There's one person in their company. And so they have to either do all of those things, keep all those balls in the air, or hire someone or automate. And you can actually do both of those. You can still hire someone. I advocate for that. I have a VA and I teach her how my automation works. And so she works within that system and outside of it to do things that we don't want to automate. But I feel like most of the entrepreneurs in the world are solopreneurs, and you have to find a way or it's not going to work. And that's that sad statistic of all those businesses that fail. And I don't think they fail because someone's a bad business person or they have a bad product. I think it's because they're trying to do every single thing and we're just not made that way.
Yeah, you get burned out. You miss out on opportunities because you're so focused on trying to deliver a product. Or, as a photographer, there's a lot of back end work that has to happen after all the images are taken. And so if you want to focus on that because that's what you love doing, that's why you got into this business, is to do this type of work, but you're pulled away because your products aren't being delivered, your marketing isn't continuing because you have to stop and focus on this other thing.
That's exactly right. Yeah. You said
it. Because I've experienced it. It can be really frustrating, and it's no way to be able to level up your business. And Patty has been talking with me about this for like over a year. She's like, we have to get you more automated because I need to start being less hands-on to the delivery of all of my products, and more focused on the creation of the empowerment empire and the different programs that we deliver, which takes a lot of me being out into the world in the face of the business. But I still need the background to keep running, and not have to be the person to keep the background running.
Here's one of the best examples I can think of. When I started using automation and I became a certified partner, I started teaching webinars, and I'm just so thrilled to be doing this, and I get a little, adrenaline, right before the webinar starts. So about an hour and a half before my webinar started at 6, I stopped working. I spent some time with my spouse and I ate my dinner, and I just was kind of mentally preparing myself to be a resource for the people that had paid money to come to my webinar. I wanted to make sure I was delivering value. And so I had a candle burning, and then at 6 o'clock, I started the webinar. But during that 90 minutes, 2 emails and 1 text message went out to remind everybody that we're going to get started. And I didn't have to do those things. I was in my place getting ready to be of value to people, and my automation took care of the reminders so everyone knew, and they had the Zoom link so they could hop right on.
I love it. That, I think, is one of the big things for me as a service provider is, reminding of programs that I produce. And, because people are busy and they may forget, it might not be, in their own phones with a reminder. So it allows us to be the best service provider that we can be, and make it as easy as possible for our customers to enjoy the products and services that we're producing for them. Yeah, absolutely. How did you get started with the work that you're doing as a certified partner for the automation tool that you provide?
So right after as soon as I bought that program, and I had absolute clarity in my eyes, I knew this is exactly what I needed. And I jumped in with both feet, right into the deep end of the pool. And I started learning everything I could. I asked a lot of questions. And after about 6 months, the key people said, hey, listen, you could become a certified partner. We think that you can help a lot more people. And it was funny because I first said, nope, I only want to do my photography. I don't want to sell anything for anybody else. And they're so smart, because instead of saying you can make money doing that, they said, you can help a lot more business people that were in the same boat you were. And I was like, oh, that's exactly the right thing to say to me. So, but within 6 months of starting with Keep and using it, I became a certified partner. And so now I can teach the other people. And I love that my photography fits right in, because when I'm working with you, at least if I can get to you to take your pictures and your video, we can use those in your landing pages and your emails and on your website. So it's a perfect marriage of my skills, and they fit together beautifully for the client. And so that's how I got started, was out of my own need. I found Keep, I learned it, and I became certified. So now I can help those other companies that are in that position, crying on the keyboard, and just don't know where to turn. Or here's another situation I find that a lot of business owners that come to work with me is they have a CRM. It's like, I didn't have one. They have a CRM, but they're not using it. Like, some of them not using it at all. So every month they make a donation to the company. And they're not using it because they don't understand it. They don't want to mess it up. And the most important thing is, they don't know what's going to happen when they push that button, that send button. They don't want to spam their list. They don't want to annoy their clients. They don't want anything bad to happen, so they make nothing happen. And that's safer for them. And I really want to help those people. I just feel like I get that. I understand that trepidation, because I've been in that situation many times in my life, and that's generally my reaction. If I don't know what's going to happen on the end, then I'm not going to jump usually. But this time I jumped, and I'm really glad I did.
Yeah, because if you don't push that send button, then your group of clients that have opted in to receive information from you have no idea what you're doing. And I think that's a lot of the fear that we've been speaking about throughout the course of the month, is trying things new, being willing to take a little bit of a leap, to stretch yourself and to grow your business. It speaks right into the presentation that I had the day before yesterday. It was about diversifying your income streams. And it's, as business owners, as solopreneurs, or individuals with a very small staff, if we want to get to that next level, we want to become mid-size organizations or franchise our businesses, or grow it to a larger entity. If we have those sorts of aspirations, we need to be able to understand how to diversify the income that we receive.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you're still enjoying being a fantastic photographer, but you're also able to receive a revenue stream from another organization that you utilize, understand, and support. We do that at the Empowerment Empire. We do business protection services, and we do legal services through another organization, because as we provide business coaching, and then we have our events, and then we have our magazine, we wanted to round out the offerings and become a women's empowerment business agency that offers all of these things.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the fact that we need to express that creativity, that ability to, really open our minds and open up the opportunities so that we can bring on different sources of income that are still in line with our businesses and with our ideas of the type of a business person that we want to be.
Exactly. And that's important, the type of business person we want to be, because we might not be there yet, and that's okay. We're getting there, and it's like, wear the suit for the job you want, maybe not the job you have. So be the person that you want to be, and you will get there.
Exactly. We always, in professional development, it was always dress for the job that you want to have.
I was saying, right?
As the professional that you want to be seen as. You spoke with me earlier about an ebook that you have. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And then we will pop that into the chat for everyone.
Yes. So I have an ebook of 25 things that any business can automate. And that might seem like, oh, my business is different, it won't work for me. But if you just check out the audio or the video, what am I trying to say? The ebook, check out the ebook. You're going to find at least a few things in there that you can automate in your business. And my contact information is in there. If you want any help with that, that's what I do. That's my whole purpose in life. And I just get such a thrill from helping someone go from that state of overwhelm to, oh my gosh, I can do this. And here's a benefit of using automation that most people don't even realize they're going to get. Your leisure time, you can get your leisure time back, because I know that you're doing this. You're sitting on the couch with your family and we're all watching a Disney movie, and you're there in the room, but your mind is still in your office, still on your business, worried about forgetting to do something. So I found that the quality of my leisure time went up astronomically when I knew that these tasks were being taken care of. And I got that automation in my business. So I highly recommend it.
I have posted your information here. So we have your contact information, Rita Thomas. Make sure that you're reaching out to her for all of your Tennessee photography needs, as well as, of course, to learn about this great tool that she has been sharing with us. I have gone ahead and post your information here for your awesome ebook. And when our live has concluded, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to post more links and more information. I took a couple of screenshots, so I'll be able to pop those in there as well. Can we do a screenshot of us?
Yes, ma'am.
I always like to do that. Okay, let's see here. Give me just a moment. I always like to, and I will post it. The photographers, even though I don't do photography professionally anymore, I still have all of my equipment and I just love it with all of my being. Okay, we ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Oh, you had the clicks down. That's great.
Yep.
Can you do that in Zoom? Can you do that in Zoom, or is that on your laptop?
It's on my laptop.
Oh, that's great.
Rita, I want to thank you so very much for joining us today. It was so great to meet you. Rita and I were chit-chatting before we came on live about how it's so great when we reach out to someone and we just connect. There's just this energy that you instantly want to collaborate and do amazing things with each other. I have been having these sorts of conversations all month long during our International Women in Business May Money Talks Mastermind. And it simply started because I had this idea like 3 years ago when I read Carrie Schwab Pomeranz's book, How to Talk to Your Family About Money. And it really opened the door to me understanding that I didn't really have those money conversations growing up. It wasn't something that I was included in. And I think everything that we've been learning here this month is something that you don't have to keep to yourself. You can share with your family, sit down with your family and watch a couple of episodes that we've put over on our new YouTube channel. The insights and the experience of listening to these phenomenal women who are like, I had to start from scratch, and figure it out. So the goal here is to not have to require you to start from scratch and figure it out. Utilize the experience of these phenomenal women who have been there and done that and are willing to share their expertise and to share their services. As the Empowerment Empire, we are so focused on collective collaboration. Buy from women business owners. As a woman business owner, let's support our industry and really utilize each other's expertise and experiences. It is what the Young Woman Entrepreneur Education Foundation is also striving for, so that we can provide an annual scholarship to as many women as possible by having these conversations and opening the doors to collaboration. So if you're enjoying our International Women in Business May Money Talks Mastermind, please go back and click on our Eventbrite link and place your donation today. $5,000 is our goal, and go big or go home. And when you are tired of being frustrated with your systems, reach out to Rita. She has got an awesome tool. I am a utilizer of Keep myself. I'm a new user of the program, and so I'm still figuring it out. I will be reaching out also to be like, how do you do this? Because I know the importance of really wanting to serve my customer, my clients well, without having it, pull me away from the face of the business and really operating, the new programs and putting out into the world all the great things that we're doing at the Empowerment Empire. So with that, give us a few closing words, Rita, on your advice to, the person who is sitting like this. I know you already gave us a bunch of good tidbits, but give us our closing thoughts for this Friday.
Right? The first thing that you can do is find a system that's going to work for you. I have a video series, and the very first one is which CRM is right for me. And I just tell you some of the really key important things to look for, because you don't need the one with all the bells and whistles. You don't need Salesforce if you don't even have a CRM yet, right? You might be okay to use MailChimp. All depends on what you need. Of course, I love Keep, and I recommend that for almost everyone. But find the right one. Just find one and start using it. And that fear of having to switch over later is very real. I understand that. But in today's world, almost all of the providers have a migration service. So you're not going to be out on a desert island by yourself and then trying to get over to this other elusive thing that you really want. And people like me certified partners can just help you migrate all that in there too. So get started, pick one. And if it's okay, I'll put the link to that video in the comments, so then you can watch that video and see
absolutely
what I recommend you look for in a CRM if you don't have one.
Excellent. Thank you so very much, Rita, for your time, for connecting. Thank you for your service.
And thank you too.
Absolutely. On this Friday, I'm Vihil Vigil, host of your International Women in Business May Money Talks Mastermind. My phenomenal guest is Rita Thomas, Automation Nation, I love that your title right there on Zoom. Definitely reach out to me, reach out to Rita if you have questions about your automation, because I know that you do, from experience. And the goal here is to provide you with resources and tools to be able to understand how to increase your wealth generating activities as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. We want to support you and encourage you and help to elevate you. Have a safe and wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on the International Women in Business May Money Talks Mastermind. I look forward to seeing everyone on Monday. We have a brief program on Monday, and then we have an all hands on deck Tuesday to close out the whole program. So I look forward to seeing everyone then. Have a wonderful weekend. And thank you so much, Rita.